I think that it completely gave me a direction in my high school career. I didn't really know what I wanted to do until I was in Robotics 2, and then I found that I really enjoyed solving puzzles and going through the process of a design and finally completing a challenge. And it gave me an idea of a field where I can continue to do that for the rest of my life and still be surprised by new stuff, but know how to handle each challenge as it came.
I guess I never really considered computer science as a major. It was kind of just off my radar completely before I took a technology class at Sunset, and now it's kind of become my main focus.
Before I actually ventured into any of the classes that Sunset's technology path had, I had no idea what I wanted to do after high school. It was totally just this blank space. And being in computer science and the technology courses that Sunset has to offer has really opened a lot of doors for me, both in school and out of school, in terms of career opportunities, awards, etc. And it's really just been an amazing experience, and I know for sure what I want to do now, so there's that.
In whatever you're doing, you're going to use it. So, I mean, whether or not you want to go into business or art or technology itself or science, I mean, computers are everywhere. We carry them in our pockets, and I mean, it's kind of scary to think that most of us walk around not really knowing how they work. So, if only to fight our computer overlords, I think we should all know how to code.
Since technology is becoming more and more important as we get into the future, it's important that every kid knows how to code and do things like that and know how to run their computers so that we can effectively run the world. Because without technology, what are we going to do?
I think it's really valuable because I guess so much of our society today uses technology and it's so integral to our everyday lives. So understanding how it works is really important for everybody, I think.
Well, in an ever-growing world of just full of technology, sooner or later it's going to look like Star Trek or something from WALL-E. And so just technology is going to be so prominent in our daily lives, and just knowing how to, I guess, use it into, work it or create it to your own benefit, or to make a profit or to invent something, it's going to be an ever-growing, even in a business standpoint.
Everyone should learn it anyways. It's because we're interacting with these programs every single day, and it helps a lot to know how they work, or to know on at least at a basic level how things are operating under the hood. So
technology has a huge impact on our lives, and as we keep progressing, it's just going to get more and more. It's going to have a bigger and bigger impact on just everything we do, basically. So knowing your way around a computer and all the other technology things, it really can't hurt at all.
They're definitely more hands-on because, I mean, I'm not actively working on creating new math in math class. I'm just trying to catch up, right? I'm trying to catch up to what everybody's already figured out. Whereas in computer science, I mean, sure, some people have figured it out, but there are tons of people struggling along with you, and you're building things that might not. Nobody may have made your Battleship program the same way that you're making it before.
I think it's a necessary part for life in general, because thinking outside the box is something that a lot of people are looking for when they're hiring. They're not wanting someone who is book to book. They kind of want someone who is willing to take risks in order to make a job or a project successful.
I see it as very valuable, like today, because technology is really becoming a necessity for our growing necessity for everything, because everything really involves technology, even the basic forms. So even knowing just the smallest amount, it's going to help with everything.
Okay, so, I mean, everything is being powered by computers nowadays. Using your phone to send people messages, everything involves computer science. And I think, all paper type things will become, all, written publications will all become digitized eventually. All spoken language, I mean, everything is going to be done through computers at some point. And if you've ever read Ray Kurzweil's book, about the singularity, there's a point in time where technology, because it scales so exponentially, the way we interact and the way we behave as humans will just fundamentally change. So when everything else is going to become obsolete, I mean, learning computer science seems like a safe course of action because it'll help you get a job. It'll help you learn to deal with those things as they come up, because we're preparing ourselves for jobs that don't even exist yet.
I'm going into medicine, and I know that as a lot of other fields are advancing technologies, it'd be good as a doctor or a surgeon to be able to use robotic arms to operate on a person, or even better, be able to program them and understand if they break down, what you can do to fix them.
I never thought about doing anything in tech before. I've always just kind of thought about doing natural sciences, but I've realized that natural sciences these days have a lot of overlap with technology. Pretty much anything has a lot of overlap with technology, and knowing how to code is the new literacy. Employers are looking for people who are adaptable and can make programs to do what they need to do, and computers are so powerful if you know how to use them, so they'll make you better at whatever you're doing.
Computer science is kind of the crux behind all of this, and if we want to ensure that the future is better than what we have right now, we have to have more and more we have to have a stronger base of computer science, and I think that can only be achieved if we have it at the most fundamental high school and middle school levels.
Problem-solving skills. Problem-solving.
Problem-solving.
Creative problem-solving.
Logical thinking. Problem-solving.
Logical thinking. Efficient thinking. Creative thinking.
Analytical skills. Problem-solving skills.
Critically think.
Critical thinking.
Problem-solving.
Problem-solving. Problem-solving.
I think computer science is valuable because it helps people approach things logically. And so you get a problem and you have to figure out how you're going to solve it with the tools you have / the tools you don't have, but how to get those tools as well. So it's certainly helped a lot in math. There are a lot of concepts that are given that I understand quicker, or I can figure out how they work better because of my background in computer science in these classes. And then they're just helpful in the real world, just because computers are a part of our daily lives everywhere, the smartphones and this and that. So the more you know about it, the better you'll be able to use them / the more in-depth, the more capabilities you'll have with them.
It extends also towards math and more importantly reasoning, because we see that when following a logical sequence of events to complete a project, you need specific reasoning skills that translate to solving math problems.
And it's practice at a logical thinking structure. So much like math, you have to do things in an exact way, but in a creative way. For computer sciences, you have to figure out how to write a code that gets something done efficiently, but as well as actually functioning and doing something, without throwing too many errors or taking too much time. So I think that's how it's super valuable, that it builds these life skills.
But I see it's also valuable in that it teaches you a lot of analytical skills. A lot of this is, although you can be creative, you have to know, you have to be good at math and understand the formula and how the program works.
Yeah, that mindset just really helps with all STEM classes, I think. And STEM classes, math and science, are core curriculum. So anything that can enhance your learning ability in those classes, I think, is really helpful.
You learn how to kind of think in a different way, in a really logical way. To think of something and then to write it in code, that process, being able to kind of translate what's in your mind onto a program or something like that, really takes a lot of critical thinking. So thinking in a very logical kind of pattern or step-based way is something that is a skill that you gain in these classes.
A lot of this stuff has helped me in my other school stuff and in my life, because now I know how to use technology better.
The computer science classes are the most relevant to my future out of all of my classes. While all these other classes are good to have as supplementary classes, I'd say that computer science is just so vital to what I'm wanting to do with my future. So out of all my classes, by far computer science classes at Sunset are the most valuable.
I think the subject of computer science has a lot to do with problem solving and thinking outside of the box, and I think it's a lot more relevant than a lot of the other subjects that we're taught at Sunset. And it helps us develop a lot more practical skills that we'll use in actual careers than what most of the classes are actually teaching us.
It's allowed me to see things in a different perspective, and it's also allowed me to think outside the box, which has been helpful with all of my classes. So definitely has helped.
I mean, I'm not an art person, but I kind of see it as an art. It's a way to create something from nothing, and you use a different kind of tools and a different kind of medium than traditional art, but you still create something from nothing. So I think that's cool.
And you're building things that nobody may have made your Battleship program the same way that you're making it before. And it's a lot more creative. I mean, that might sound weird because you don't really think of you think of computer science and you think of a bunch of people in front of computers, just kind of like nerd mania, not like artists. But it's creative problem solving, and there pretty much any task you're given, there are a plethora of ways you can get it done.
This class, it's not that it's easy or relaxed, but it's a nice way to be creative instead of just learning core classes like math or science where everything is very formulaic and very laid out for you. This class opens it a lot more up to being creative and letting your mind kind of relax while still having fun and getting good grades in the course.
So I think one of them that's especially important is critical thinking and reasoning, and that once I see a problem, I don't just immediately flip to the back of the book for the answer. Instead, I have to peruse forums, and I have to go through the API. I have to ask my friends how to fix the problem, and eventually it's this really large trial and error process in which I find out why a problem exists and how to fix it rather than what the solution is. And I think that's really important because it's helped me in all my other classes. In math, I don't go to the back of the book anymore. Instead, I have a lot of other outlets that I can use that are far more effective in learning.
I think I have a better grasp of like logic and logical structures and like how specific things have to be if you want a computer to do them, and how one little logic gap can bring down a whole computer program or a whole argument. I think I'm a much more I'd say logically creative, if that makes any sense, thinker. So it's like I feel like I make a better Spock, but I also make a better Scotty after taking computer science. Yeah.
I mean, computer science doesn't just teach computer science things, it also teaches you other skills like organization, working in a team, and it just helps you. It teaches you how to learn skills.
They do help you work on a team in regards to during the couple, like in robotics, you're almost always with a group, but in like C++ and Java, there's like one or two group projects, but they kind of help you. It helps teach you like to collaborate and how to communicate in order to succeed. / shows how when you don't collaborate and don't communicate, it's a lot harder to succeed, because a lot of your group will be left in the dark and they won't be as up to date as you think they are, and so you need to communicate.
Communication's a really big part, because if you don't know what someone else wants, then you're not going to have a good program, and it just throws everything out of control.
Definitely being able to both work individually very well and work as a team. There are a few projects that you can do in technology while you're working together. In game design, you can do like RTS games where you have people do certain aspects of a game like art or sound. Then there's things where programming, where people can work on one class or work on a different class to make a final project. So I think both aspects of working individually and working as a team have definitely influenced me.
It was Java programming, and we made a program called Arima. And in the beginning, it just seemed like this really big, daunting program, but then we kind of got at it step by step, and before we knew it, it was done. It was just a really rewarding project to do.
The different way of approaching a problem that you have through coding, because you really start like piece it apart, and you start to tackle it little bit by little bit, and it just it really changes the way how you like even other outside things other than coding. It really changes the way how you approach them, and it helps because you're not so like devastated, I guess, by a huge task at hand, because you can really sort of piece it apart and tackle it like bit by bit, and it becomes manageable.
Being able to take a large problem and break it down into manageable pieces is something that's really useful not only in completing a computer science project, like a data structure or whatever, but you know, in math, in anything really.
I gained like the ability to really like focus in and read through like the code and notice like the smallest mistakes, and to try like tons of different things. Like just a simple see out would help me find out where like the error would be.
Determination is one, because I feel like you have to be able to kind of roll with the punches when something doesn't work out the first time, and you kind of learn how to deal with failure, and you say, okay, now that didn't work, so let's try a different way. So it's kind of like failure, determination, and positivity through going through the creative and design processes.
I guess determination, because a lot of times it doesn't really want to work the way you want to, and you just sort of have to deal with it.
Definitely more patience, and like especially when it doesn't work and stuff.
Obviously computer skills, but a lot of it's not really involved with the computer skill-wise. Like I keep repeating, it's thinking outside the box, it's creativity, it's almost like learning about yourself. It's being able to work with other people, like team members, asking for help, not being shy about it. Kind of getting you out of your comfort zone. I mean, there's so many different things that's helped me out with, and I've only taken one semester of computer game design and then Java programming this year, and it's helped me so much as an individual.